To continue with the occasional series, I should say, of a halachic approach to present stirring controversial issues, I recently saw an article on the Ynet and other places. The link will be posted here, about a woman who used to be a man who was teaching in an Orthodox elementary school in Brooklyn and was fired. And she said she was only following Halacha, quoting a tshuva of the Eli'ezer. We will look at this tshuva a little bit later. This is not the first time I have encountered this issue. About almost 20 years ago, a couple in Los Angeles requested to meet with me about a serious issue, and as we met, they told me that in their shul there is a very sincere woman that wants to convert to Judaism. The only issue is that she used to be a man. And was it possible to do such a conversion? And my response was, this is above my pay grade. And I called my Rebbe, Rav Chaim Druckman. His first question was, is she sincere? Is she ready to convert? And so on. And I said, I have no idea. I haven't met her yet, but I don't want to start a process if I can't finish it. I don't want to take her through studying for a year or more and, learning things and becoming observant and then having to say, well, no, in fact, we can't do this. So I have to know up front whether it's possible to the conversion. He said I was correct. And it was one of, I believe, 3 times where he told me, call me back tomorrow at this time. The following morning, I received the chelik chaf base of the Eli'ezer, and which would end up being the last chelik published of the Eli'ezer. And the second shaila there was a tshuva addressed to Rav Mordechai Elihu, at the time the chief rabbi of Israel, or former chief rabbi, I'm not sure exactly when that tshuva was written. And the issue that they were discussing, they had discussed it in 2 meetings, there was a case in Israel of a married couple with a man underwent a sex change operation, and the question now is, did this man, formerly woman, have to give his wife a get, or the fact that he was no longer a man, did that in and of itself release her without the necessity of a get? So the Eli'ezer had told Rav Eliyahu that he had seen a tshuva on this, and neither of them was able to find it before their second meeting. After the second meeting, Eli'ezer went back and found the tshuva. It is from a sefer Yosef et Echav by Rav Yosef Phalagji from about 300 years ago or so, from Morocco. And the question asked there was a married couple for many years with children. The woman, something happened to her and she turned into a man. Did this man need a get? And in the tshuva, Yosef et Echav, Rav Yosef Phalagji says no, because we learn from the text of the get, where it says, among other things, you may marry any man that you desire. He has other sources as well, but essentially he's saying, since what we have in front of us right now is a woman, that therefore, what we have in front of us right now is a man, and you cannot say that this man can marry another man. Therefore, there is no possibility of a get here. The Eli'ezer also cites from the Carbon Nisanel something at the end of the 8th parak of Vamos of Vav. He says that he has had expert doctors testify in front of him that they have had androgynous patients that gave birth to children and then fathered children. Doctors today will tell you that this is impossible, that an androgynous is sterile. I do not doubt that someone testified in front of the Carbon this way. I question whether it could have actually happened. But in any case, the Carbon is arguing because of this that the androgynous person is a bria bifnei atzma, it's its own creation. So at the end, after citing this, and there's also a tshuva from Rav Yom Tov Al-Ghazi, that discusses androgynous people as being going from male to female or female to male. And the conclusion of the Tzitz Eliezer after this is Asher al ken nir le'ani estaiti shebemrike shefalenu yesh letet lo din androgynos or tumtum, that we have to give the person in front of us the halacha of an androgynous person or a tumtum, and the halachas of androgynous people, he has collected them all in one place in the third volume of his Tzitz Eliezer, סימן Yid Gimel. I have included most of the Tzitz Eliezer, the truth of the Tzitz Eliezer, in the sources for those people that want to look at it more in greater depth. Now, the question is, what is the halacha of an androgynous person concerning marriage? So the Gemara, it's a Mishnah that's in Yevamos, Daf Pei Aleph, Amud Aleph. Androgynous no say avalonisa. An androgynous person can marry a woman, but cannot be married by a man. Rabbi Lezer Omer, androgynous chayvim lav skila kazachar. Whether this is a statement that disagrees, whether he's agreeing, whether he's explaining, is not clear. But Rabbi Lezer says an androgynous person, a male that would have relations with an androgynous person, would be liable to the death penalty as if they had had a homosexual relationship. This halacha of androgynous no say abalonisa, that an androgynous person can marry a woman but cannot be married by a man, is quoted by the Beis Bechira, the Meiri, the Piskei Rid, and the Beis Yosef. The Beis Yosef discusses it in an interesting context. What is the halacha if you have an androgynous Kohen that marries a woman? Can that woman now benefit from the matnos kahuna, from the gifts that are generally given to a Kohen that he and his family is allowed to have benefit from? So the Beis Yosef quotes, it's not Rabbi Yossi or Rabbi Shimon Omrim. Rabbi Yossi and Rabbi Shimon say, androgynous Kohen shenasa bas Yisrael machila b'truma. If an androgynous person marries the daughter of an Israelite who otherwise wouldn't be allowed to eat truma, the parts of the agro-produce that are separated and given to Kohanim, she is allowed to eat the truma. Androgynous no say avalonisa, because an androgynous person can marry a woman but not be married by a man. And then he continues the quote from the Mishnah, Rabbi Lezer Amar chayav alav skila kazachar. There is the death penalty by stoning as if it were a male. Now, let's look at this for a minute. The Gemara is unclear whether an androgynous is a male, a female, or a bria bifnei atzma, its own creation that's different from anything else. Now, male homosexuality, the Torah prohibits outright. So, obviously, since the androgynous person may be a male, and this is a Torah prohibition, this would be prohibited. If the androgynous person is a male and it marries a female, that would certainly be permitted. If an androgynous person is a female and marries a female, lesbianism is some type of rabbinic prohibition. However, we're not sure if this is a female, the androgynous, and therefore it's a sefek, a case of doubt. And the sefek d'Rabbanan is mutter, a case of doubt in a rabbinic prohibition is permitted. So therefore, since we're not sure what the androgynous is, therefore it would be allowed to be marrying a female. If it's a bria bifnei atzma, if it's its own creation, either male or female, we don't know what this relationship to a male would be, but the relationship to the female would clearly be permitted because it's not included within the rabbinic prohibition of lesbianism. This is obviously a burning issue that is coming up constantly in today's society and will continue to come up, but I think it should be discussed in the Orthodox community within the confines of halacha, not out of emotion. Now, what kind of a halachic issue would there be in a sex change operation? There are two issues to be considered here. One is let's call it the cold halacha, the halacha in isolation. One is meta halachic. That is, sometimes the rabbis create prohibitions because of what they view as what is necessary for society and so on. I personally have no doubt that there are meta halachic issues here that, again, are beyond my pay grade to discuss. However, there are halachic issues that I think we can address to a certain degree. The first thing I want to say is that a male undergoing a sex change operation to become a female is clearly a Torah prohibition, because it says, "Vartzechem los asuzos." You're not allowed to do this, castration, in any of your lands. Any place you are, you're not allowed to perform castration, even a human or an animal, and so on. And therefore, that would be a Torah prohibition. Whether a female sterilization is a different issue, however. There is no mention in the Torah of female sterilization. There is a Tosefta where it says Rabbi Chia's wife had great pain, far more than is normal in giving birth and during her pregnancies, and she disguised herself, and she went before her husband Rabbi Chia and described her situation, asked whether it was possible for her to drink this drink that would permanently sterilize her, kosher likrin, and Rabbi Chia said yes. Rabbi Chia later, when he found out it was his wife, he was upset because apparently he wanted more children. But nonetheless, the female sterilization in and of itself, if there is a extremely good reason to do it, can be permitted. Now, at this point, we require the meta halachic examination of the issue, which, as I said, is beyond my pay grade, and I'm not going to address it. However, the issue of whether someone has undergone a sex change operation, the final answer that Rav Druckmann gave me is that such a person can undergo a conversion, and as the Tzitzilazar has defined them as an androgynous person, they can marry a female but cannot marry a male. I hope this adds a little bit of halachic clarity to an issue that is discussed mainly in screaming voices in today's world. Everyone should have a wonderful contemplative day.